This episode is brought to you by JC Engineers. With town planners, engineers, project managers, and building professionals, they provide practical common sense solutions to any project. Visit them at www.jcengineers.com.au.
Welcome back to another episode of So What Does That Mean? Today we are talking about what's under the ground can ruin your project. Underground services are invisible, they're often poorly documented, and oftentimes assumed to be somebody else's problem.
Yeah, look, across the industry, unplanned service strikes are one of the most common causes of major cost blowouts. And most of them happen on projects where people thought they'd done their checks.
So you're saying people aren't careless, they're just working with bad information?
Yeah, look, I think the key thing is that, what's on the paper is rarely what's actually in the ground itself. Service plans are often incomplete. They're outdated. They're based on assumptions. Many services that were installed decades ago with poor records. Private services are frequently missing altogether. You've got multiple things happening at the same time, and complexities of legislation and complexities of individuals that work within governing authorities, utilities, asset owners that are trying to piece together data over years. So, things happen in between that, and they're not documented.
Right.
In practice, a significant portion of service strikes occur where plans actually existed. They just weren't accurate enough to rely on.
So you're saying, like they're saying it's in one location, and so they go to build beside that location, and that's actually where it's located.
Yeah, exactly right. So it can be meters away, or it could not even be on the plans. So if you're looking at a two-dimensional plan or database, you're trying to figure out horizontally a distance. What's it relevant to? Is it the boundaries of the other service? How do you know the other service is there or not there? How do you know the boundaries in the right spot? And then you've got vertical. So how deep is it? Is the depth in the right location? Did somebody put another mound of dirt on top of where that existing dirt is to be able to then change the depth? Where's the level? What's there? How do we figure that out?
Isn't that why we have the Before You Dig Australia website?
Yeah, exactly. Before You Dig Australia is a starting point. It's not a guarantee. It's an initiative that was brought into the industry so that information collectively can be put in one spot to be able to assist in trying to prevent these type of things, service strikes and things like that. But I mean, you are relying on what's been uploaded to be accurate. You're relying on what has been uploaded from the water department has been checked against the sewer department, has been checked against the comms department, the electrical department, etc. And everything all aligns. Just because they're all collectively on a system doesn't mean that they're 100% right. I mean, the plans show intent, but they don't show the reality. How many times have we seen a plan that says, this is where we built it? Or this is where we were going to build it.
Yeah.
And then you dig in the ground and you go, well, it's not there.
Yeah.
I can tell you because I'm looking at it right now. You then got also ground movement, redevelopment, and undocumented changes that obviously going to distort these records over time. People think they're reducing the risk when they're actually inheriting the risk.
So what are the real consequences besides the repair costs of hitting whatever service you've hit?
Yeah. I mean, the key thing is if you do hit a service, then the authorities are going to come back and say, well, you hit the service, so you've got to repair it. You've got to do whatever you need to do because you haven't taken into account the protocols from your side, from a safety side, to be able to manage that risk. They offload that risk to the developer or the builder or the contractor or whoever is actually there doing that. Obviously the consequences beyond the cost of repair include program delays. You could have a delay like that. I mean, the authority only will tell you to just stop your work.
Yeah.
and repair their service first. If it's a live service, it's obviously it's emergency. You need to get in there straight away
It's
and
a
make sure
safety. Yeah.
so there's a safety concern. Emergency redesigns. So say you took a low voltage cable offline, and all of a sudden you've got 10,000 people without power. Someone's going to have to get in there and actually repair that pretty quickly. So safety incidents, regulatory reporting. You've got insurance complications. So, I mean, if you put a claim against, your builder or contractor's insurer, or they put a claim with their insurer to claim back on those costs, they're going to ask, well, what protocols did you put in place to mitigate every single risk that's involved with striking a service here? If you went through all of your plans, all of the step-by-step processes that are there, but missed one thing, they're going to come back and say, well, you're not covered because you didn't do this.
Right.
I mean, the strike itself is rarely the biggest problem. It's everything that follows.
Yeah. Why are first-time developers probably the most exposed?
Well, first-time developers, they're new to the game. They're new to a lot of these things. It's the assumption that, well, it's a regulated authority, so why would they not know where their service is? They've put it in the ground, so why wouldn't they know where it is?
Yeah.
They generally, the first-time developers are generally on tighter budgets, and any sort of a delay or blowout can really blow that budget out of the water. They're under pressure to move quickly. They've got tight programs. They're wanting to flip things quickly.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay rates back to the bank or whatever it might be. They've got that added pressure. They can be over reliant on consultants. As a consultant myself, we're only as good as the information that we are provided or can go and obtain. So we would go and obtain a site survey. We would engage a surveyor to go out and locate all of this. They're using online databases to go and look at things. We would physically go out to site ourselves to locate manholes, pits, markers, things like that, where we can try and find and locate where there may be a conflict. You can use a GPR or a wand to be able to pick up the services under the ground by them sort of pinging as you run over them. But even with doing all of that, the best way to actually find out whether the service is there is to dig it up.
Right.
Expose it, not dig it up.
Yeah.
And I think the other reason first-time developers are most exposed is because they generally have a lack of experience in the industry.
Right. Okay. So people don't even know what questions to ask?
Yeah, exactly. The risk is invisible until it's not. But don't worry, it's manageable. I think service proving is a key thing. So service proving involves potholing. I don't know if anyone's sort of heard that term before, but
No.
You basically dig a hole and you dig down to find the service. Now, potholing, there are means of non-destructive digging, so we call it NDD.
Okay.
Where basically they use a hydrovac and they've got high pressure water and they've got a suction hose on it.
And they suck the dirt out.
They wet the dirt up and they suck the dirt out, so it doesn't perform any sort of damage to the service that's underneath it. But then it also generally doesn't make such a big mess. I guess as a mechanical means of an excavator coming out and digging things up.
Yeah.
You should have a staged investigation as well. So, initially during the planning phases, obviously, you can have a look online and get an idea of where things are at. But then when you move to the design phase, you should be physically locating things to make sure that the services are where the services should be.
So that means going and doing your potholing and stuff at that design point?
Service proving and physically locating these services so that you can then put them onto the plan. You can get a workaround if something didn't line up. You can alert the authorities as such in that stage.
Yes.
And any sort of delays or costs associated with that are going to be minimal compared to any sort of issues that may happen
Out on the side. Yeah.
Early coordination. So, I mean, at each stage through the process. So you've got your plan, you've got your design side of things. We obviously do our safety and design process as well internally, and we make sure that we go through and check that everything is where it should be and we're not conflicting with things. But when you then enter into your your approval stage, the governing authorities themselves, they're going to check their databases. They're going to check everything that they know about that area as well. As long as everything that we've proposed lines up with that, they're going to give it the tick. When you move to construction, the contractor themselves has their own protocols in place to then physically go and survey all of that and locate these services again. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you do have 3 points where you can jump in and physically locate these services
Prior to actually starting construction.
prior to actually getting into the construction activities. So make allowances in your program, make allowances in your budget to do this, because if you do it up front and you do it early on, it's going to be a very minimal cost to mitigate a risk that can cost you a lot later on.
Yeah.
It's not about fear. It's about acknowledging the uncertainty early. When it's cheap, you can manage it.
Okay.
And I think some practical takeaways from this discussion here. I think never treat underground information as complete. Budget for uncertainty, not perfection. Make sure that you are making allowances in there to check, recheck, and actually make sure that things can work the way you need it to work. Ask questions. Ask what's assumed, what's verified, what's unknown. If your consultant, your designer, your authorities, your contractor, your surveyor, your subbies, anyone who you're engaging doesn't know where everything is that they're proposing, then that's a concern. Most registered professional engineers have an obligation to be able to make sure that they're checking all of this and making sure that you're provided with this advice. So if you think that there's an issue there somewhere, you think that something doesn't make sense on the plans, get them to explain it to you. If they can't explain it to you, keep asking why.
Yeah. Back to your 5 whys.
Back to your 5 whys.
So the smartest developers aren't the ones who avoid the risk. They're the ones who see it early. What you can't see underground causes some of the biggest project failures, but only when it's ignored. We want to thank you again for tuning in to another episode of So What Does That Mean? We'll see you next time.